Good afternoon. My name is Cindy Lester. I am a student in the Masters of Science in Nursing at Grand Canyon University. I will be presenting my final project presentation for nursing leadership in healthcare systems. I did my preceptorship at Texas Health Hughley in Fort Worth, Texas. Texas Health Hughley is a joint partnership between Texas Health Resources and Adventist Health. They merged in 2012 under the leadership of Ken Finch. This is a faith-based hospital with their principles of caring for the whole person, body, mind, and spirit, which started more than 150 years ago with the founders of the Seventh-day Adventist Church. They continue to help people in their care create a life of whole health by healing their bodies, strengthening their minds, and lifting their spirits. I did my preceptorship in the cath lab under the leadership of Jill Stevens. She exemplifies both transformational and servant leadership qualities in her day-to-day operations in the cath lab. Her leadership style comes from both civilian and military service. She is the current commander of the 489th Aerospace Medicine Flight at Dyess Air Force Base in Texas. She has a master's degree from the University of Texas in Arlington. She is a wealth of knowledge that I was fortunate to intern with throughout my class. Communication is one of the most important leadership skills that any leader can have, and the ability to connect with their staff they lead. Many barriers to effective communication exist, including the size of the organization, the reporting structure, shift issues, and the amount of information to be shared. The best way to ensure effective communication is to organize a strategy in the infrastructure that clearly outlines expectations for the leaders. When communication is poor, all things are affected, including staff retention and morale. The Glint survey encourages people to be their best and do their best. The data collected helps to personalize action plans and develop best practice techniques. This survey is given to the employees to personalize action plans within departments and develop best practices techniques within any department or the whole entire organization. The project goals were pretty clear, as these problems were based on communication or their lack of communication between the leadership and the staff. There has been a high staff turnover, which leaves current staff to work over, take extra call. All these goals are based on the lack of adequate communication. Leaders must be good listeners to be good communicators. This is a very essence of a good leader and of the qualities of a servant leader. Leaders have a duty to serve the staff they lead. Changing the perception of the staff and increasing quality communication is the goal that I felt where I could help change the perception of the staff. As I stated in the previous slide, the anticipated project outcomes are increased communication within the department between staff and leadership, increasing staff morale and retention, and ultimately increasing the next Glint survey scores in these areas. The biggest part of this project was involving the staff and making them feel that they are part of the process and that they have an input in this change. When employees feel vested emotionally, they will invest time and effort into their work and the department. Regardless of how effective leaders are with communication, there are situations that test one's patience and result in a potential visceral response. As much as one tries to change the perception in the department or healthcare organization, for some, it just may be too late. Improving Glint survey results is the ultimate better project outcome for staff and for leadership. Stakeholders. How did they receive this project? Well, they are an important entity within healthcare organizations. They can influence decisions, shape policy, and create an environment that best serves the needs of those involved in the sector. They should be involved in the implementation of the project as they will influence its success. Stakeholders include doctors, patients, the manager and director of the cath lab, and the ancillary staff that work with the department on a daily basis. The doctors that work within the cath lab have a working relationship with the staff. With the recent staff turnover and new staff coming in that are not trained, the doctors are hesitant to schedule any new cases. This affects the bottom line of the cath lab. When having the buy-in of the stakeholders, it helps for the success of the project. Decisions rarely need to involve all stakeholder types, and effective stakeholder engagement activities need to be well targeted. Understanding the stakeholders in a health system is essential for ensuring effective management and engagement. Stakeholders can provide valuable insight that can help to inform decisions and improve services and drive value. These steps are more common when any change is necessary. Creating a sense of urgency gets people moving to want the change and motivated for the change. Creating a team to help develop and implement this change is always necessary. If the group isn't all on board, the change will fail. So having a group to instill the change helps for the change to be successful. For any change to be successful, creating a sensible, clear, simple vision makes the change easier and a continually moving force that does not become stagnant. Communication of the vision that was developed is important as people hear that change is coming and ask questions to make suggestions, making the change more successful. In the empowerment step, giving people the power to help change and support those who develop the change will help the department to be sustainable in the future. Having short-term wins are critical in this process. This provides credibility, resources, and momentum for the overall effort. With the momentum going with short-term wins, the vision becomes a reality and the change becomes a reality. Making the change stick is not the final step. It needs to be a constant nurturing entity to keep the momentum going. This will make the change ultimately stick. With my project beginning communication, the change can become a reality and sustainable as long as the communication between staff and leadership does not break down and become stagnant within the department. This change needs to be a constant nurturing entity. Developing leadership skills and learning to communicate really go hand in hand as a leader. I have had the opportunity to be with my preceptor when she has had some real tough conversations with employees and management, and she did it with grace and empathy, one in which we can all desire to have. Being a servant leader with some transformational leadership styles would be skills I would love to incorporate into my leadership style. The AONL Nurse Leader Core Competencies provide the framework for the knowledge, skills, and abilities associated with effective leadership for first-time leaders. These competencies encompass the breadth and depth of the nurturing leadership specialty across healthcare settings and leadership roles. Servant leaders inspire others to achieve and do great things with the support of the nurse leader. Listening and empathy are critical skills that a nurse leader must exemplify and possess in the role of a nurse leader. A successful leader is not just a leader, but a role model with peers and staff. We as leaders should be inspirations to the people we serve. Being honest and having integrity are critical to being a great leader. When you say something, mean what you say and say what you mean. That is being an honest leader. We as leaders must create an environment where people feel safe and secure. When people feel safe and secure, they feel like they can come to you and trust you as their leader. We must learn to lead with informal authority. A leader comes to a place of guiding people instead of dictating what they do. In the end, always being a team player is what you strive to be. Leadership should always revolve around taking care of staff and making sure that they have all their needs met. At the end of the day, always ask yourself, what is it about you someone else would want? What do you have to offer someone? Thank you.